All right, good evening. The time is now 6:05. I call the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners, St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, Monday, August 3rd, 2020, St. Charles Parish Courthouse to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, seeing that we have a quorum present this evening, we'll now review the minutes for the June 30th, 2020 meeting. Do we have any board discussion? All right, seeing none, do we have a motion from the board?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
All right, we have a motion made by Commissioner Woods. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bailey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. And at this point, we'll go past the Sheriff's Department report. Don't see Lieutenant Oob here this evening. So let's do the review of...
I do have a question about that, though. Are they're still coming around?
I'm sorry, I spoke to Lieutenant Oob earlier today. He said he was unable to make the meeting tonight, but he would be in the office later on this week to just, to speak with us, and we'll update the board.
Okay.
I want to go on record and say I haven't talked to him in months. However, there are officers, we have developed a better relationship. There are officers that periodically come around, but I haven't talked to our officer in particular in months, maybe a year. That's a problem. I'm sorry.
But Ms. Hayes, you did communicate with him?
And there is still a presence in the community? Yes.
There is a presence,
Okay.
an increased presence, yes.
They come out and review the cameras and everything. If they got questions, they come down to the office and we'll
Yeah.
call a cameraman. He'll back the camera up for them and they'll take a look at it and see if some of them even have knowledge to back the film up themselves and take a look at stuff and see what they need to see and go on, and put that in their report.
So they're using the camera system and...
Yes,
they're-
yes,
okay,
they
so-
even come to the
We
office.
actually have a monitor set up in the Detectives Bureau's office, and we've also provided access to some of the officers mobily on their cell phone, so they can see what's happening.
All right, good deal.
Cool.
It's
Right.
also good when it comes to when the construction starts, too, because just from what I've seen, they are taking stuff from new construction houses.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
I'm back here.
So at this time, if there's no further discussion, we'll move on to review of low rent and HCVP financials. Any board discussion?
Yes.
We are on...
Go ahead.
With June,
Commissioner
right?
Woods.
We're up to date on...
We
We're
have
in May.
June. We have June.
We have June.
Where?
We got June. We got June and
Getting
July.
closer and closer. We're catching up.
Was what
Yeah.
you just handed me?
Well, we can't do no
Yeah.
better than June, because we're in August.
Well, I
And we
didn't,
received this would have been available at our July meeting, which we pushed back a couple of days.
I got you. I haven't looked at that, so my question's been, are these just the two checking accounts? We have just two checking accounts?
We have two checking accounts. We have low rent and we have Section 8. So you're looking at the bank statements, or you're referring to what?
No, just the bank statements, that was just, it was just the two checking accounts that we have total.
So as we review the financials, as I am learning to read them, I need to say that I didn't know what I didn't know
I got it.
until we got a new fee accountant. Literally, we now have control of our agency again. There was so much that we just weren't participating in. But with the new fee accountant, I can tell you, as it relates to the financials, one of our corrective actions were we needed to increase our MENAR. Our MENAR to date is a 1.2. That's still low, but we were a .000 something. In addition to that, our UNP, unrestricted net position, We're now at 107,000. I know that doesn't sound significant, but considering there's nothing different that has occurred and we have not received any new HCV money, it's a big difference. It's a big difference. So with that being said, I would like to say that today we have over $300,000 in our HCV account, and in our low rent account, we have over $53,000. No outstanding debt, none. In addition to that, our fee accountant advised me today that we are now eligible for an additional $92,000 for our low rent program for the increase in activity. We haven't leased up, which affects our numbers. Our occupancy rate is low because we're not leasing up, but as a result, we're eligible for some additional resources. And Brandy, if you could help me, because I heard last month you did an awesome job with the financials.
No, well, I just was asking, I just saw two, I was wondering if we just had two checking accounts for the whole thing.
We only have two accounts. We have one bank that we have two accounts with, and it's
Okay.
separated based on low rent and HCV.
Gotcha.
Capital One doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, gotcha. And the other question I was gonna have, I see where we're still, I'm gonna just put it like this, just still kind of borrowing from one to the
Absolutely
other?
not. That has not happened in years. We do not borrow. Each program takes care of itself. We do not borrow from any. What you might see is a transfer from the HCV program into low rent. And the reason is that our debt, our bills are paid from low rent, payroll, all of that, everything comes out of low rent because our vendors use one account. So after each quarter, what we will do is reimburse low rent. For instance, our housing specialist salary comes out of HCV, but we're paying it out of low rent. So we will reimburse, but we do not borrow from
I got
any
you, and
account.
I'm gonna say that I misspoke when I said borrow, but I did see where we were still transferring funds around.
Yeah.
And it's a reconciliation of
It's
the
a, yeah.
accounts.
And I got that, and it's fine and well, because I was gonna go with the compliment of, I was able to trace and see what you were doing or what was going on. So it's making more sense to me now what's happening than some years ago. So
Yeah, we don't,
One thing I'd like to just,
And it did show that it was salary, time and all of that good stuff, so it did make sense to me.
one thing I'd like to say is, it was nice to finally get an actual financial statement. I'm loving Housing Solutions Alliance.
oh my God.
I mean, just having a real, true financial statement that's easy to read and understand.
It did.
It was great, so
let
that was
me-
a smart move, for
Let
sure.
me say this about these people, because we still on the learning curve. When they started doing our books, first of all, they didn't get our books until December. I'm not sure if you guys were aware of that, but the previous fee accountant just quit and did not turn anything over, didn't close our year out. So they didn't get anything until December. But when they started reconciling, transparency is my friend. When they started reconciling, I was getting phone calls like blowing me up because of things I did that I should not have done. You're going to see it in the audit. I spent money on food. One of the issues that we had, and they called me, they're like, you can't do that. I'm like, well, I didn't know. But it didn't matter because I'm willing to take that lick. When you guys hired me, one of the issues that we had was morale. We had low morale, and the staff is civil service, and they have like 1 million hours. They have 1 million hours, which means they could come to work when they choose, and they will come in when they choose. Legally taken off. But we broke bread. We broke bread, and at least once a month, we would have in-service that was team building. And I would buy food, and I would feed them, and I had to force some of them to come and eat with us. Literally, right? I had to force. But eventually it broke the ice. We have gotten to the point where we literally are a team. We a team. I got a phone call. They had a seafood bar without me. I know about that. But those things didn't happen at St. Charles Parish Housing Authority because for years everybody was pitted against one another. So had the conversation with the auditor, slapped me on the hand. It is going to be an audit. But I spent money on food.
But I want to follow up on what you're saying. I know this board knows we've come a long way, and I won't belittle this. But this stuff is starting to make more sense, and I can track and trace. And when like I said, I usually would find a number and try to follow it through the both, and I was able to do it, and it made sense. So,
It's the presentation.
so we're in better shape, I'll say.
All right, any further questions or comments? All right, seeing none, can we have a motion to accept the financial reports into the record as written?
Chairman, I'd like to accept the financial reports.
All right, we have a motion made by Commissioner Bailey,
Second.
second by Commissioner Woods. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries. All right, at this time, we'll now do the board review of the VMS report. Ms. Hollis?
VMS we have to date. I kind of like vaguely talked about it. Our UNP is at 107. We have a total of 265 units that are leased up. We have sorry about that. We have a total of 14 port-ins. We have port-ins from Jefferson Parish, Kenner, Biloxi, Natchitoches, Tangible, and Kansas City. We have become a hot commodity. Everybody wants to port in now to St. Charles Parish. With that being said, to date, we have an opportunity to do no more than 3 vouchers because we've exceeded our budget. Even though we have a total of 373 vouchers awarded to our entity, the funding is based on the activity. In past activity, because we were not leasing up, our funding we've exceeded our funding.
So you
But we
said-
will get an increase.
so you're
for the next
saying-
year.
So you're saying we have 3, what allocated,
373.
373, and right now we have 264.
265 that are
Okay, gotcha.
leased up.
Who was that one poured out? What
The
is that?
one port out, who, you asking me who the person is?
No, I'm just
I-
curious whether it
I have no idea who that person is. I don't know why they would want to leave us. But they, huh? Excuse me? Oh, yeah, we had, yeah. It's confidential.
Yeah, well, I just noticed that was just one person who decided to
Yeah.
leave.
One person put out. Very good, Mr. Woods.
All right, do we have any questions regarding VMS?
Oh, I have another question on, and I even saw in our financial, when I see this fraud recovery, well, tell me what's that about?
For recovery, we have a process that's called EIV. Employment what is the acronym standing for?
Verification?
Yeah, everybody don't tell us the truth. But there's a process where we have to go, and we have to do a verification. And there's a system that's literally going to tell us every person that live at a particular address and who has income. So if the income is not being reported, then at that point, we have to adjust their monthly payments, and then we do what's called a repayment plan.
Oh, and that's where those numbers, whatever, so they give you some portion. Oh, okay, I was wondering what.
Very good, Mr. Woods.
When you give me information, I will read it.
All right. Any more questions? All right, seeing none. At this time, Ms. Hollis, if you want to give us an update on agency.
Yes. There's a lot at this time. Can we include in this, our resolutions? Basically,
Well, we were going to let, we if we follow the agenda, we're gonna do an update on agency. If Ms. Hayes has anything on low rent and HCV program, then maintenance, and then do the resolutions at the end.
Okay, so we'll have Ms. Hayes and also Mr. Taylor do an update on low rent and also maintenance issues.
Then do your
HCV.
executive at the end.
Yeah, HCV, yeah, we need to modify the way we do the agenda.
I agree. Okay, so Ms. Hayes, if you just want to give us a quick update on low rent and HCV.
Yes, in low rent, we currently have 77 units that are leased with 23 vacant and 29 on the modernization list. We haven't had any move-ins or move-outs for the month of July. And for the amount of rent collected, it was $20,848. Well, it was for the month of June, I'm sorry about that. And we still have our interior being pest controlled each month by Orkin. Recently, we had our waiting list purged, and currently we have in the realm of 120 people who are current applicants on our waiting list. That's a big drop down from 531.
Is it,
Go ahead, Ms. Ballard.
When you say you purge the list, what do you mean when you purge the
We
list?
we mailed out notifications to all our applicants and gave them an opportunity to update the housing authority if they were still interested in housing. And if we didn't get any reply by a deadline date, those people were purged from the waiting list and removed. I also let anybody who inquired or came back with a late submission that they were able to reapply, immediately for that waiting list and be put back on. So it's just a situation where a lot of times we'll have people who have been on the waiting list for 3 years. We don't have any current contact information for them, even if we did have a unit for them. So that's our opportunity to actually, purge the list so our numbers are kept down as to seeing who is actually interested.
Can you that number again? You said who's on the amount that's on it?
About 120 people.
120. And is that currently closed or open?
No, that's currently open. Our public housing waiting list has not been closed.
Open.
So,
Okay, so let's.
and we have had a number of people who are currently inquiring about applications for public housing and Section 8.
Well, let's put that out there. I mean, we want people to know.
Yes, I
it's
always
open
ask
and-
everybody to refer to the Housing Authority website because it's really good at letting them know, if they have any changes or whatnot. So I advocate for them to do that as well, especially since the office is closed to the public.
And I want to add, our HCV program, we only have 40 people left on the waiting list. Purging the waiting list, rule of thumb for me, if someone is purged and they contact the office, if they talk to me, I have those individuals put back on the list. But the issue is if that we can't communicate with them, we can't communicate. And each applicant has the responsibility of updating their information if their situation changed. With the CARES money, what we've done is we updated our website because we are not allowing clients to come into the office. We have been compromised a couple of times, but our website now allows you to do the application online. It's fillable. They can upload online. They can use a cell phone and take a picture and upload online. So anything that we did in the office, face-to-face, can now be done online. The waiting list for our HCV program will probably not be open until the conversion, but as it relates to low rent, it's never closed.
Yeah, okay, good.
It's never closed. And if for some reason there's complication and they can't get online, they can call us. We have installed outside of the office drop boxes where we'll put the information in there for a client to pick up. We put their name on it and we have a drop box with a lock on it where they could drop information off.
Good. Very good.
Thank you.
All right. Any additional questions or comments?
Good
All right,
news.
thank you, Ms. Hayes. At this time, Charles, you're up. Maintenance.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Right now in maintenance, we just basically, as Ms. Hollis said, we're doing work orders, but the serious things. We not going out doing, you know, 'cause there's a pandemic out there. There is a question that I'm being asked, I don't know if we're doing it or not. Are we gonna put in showers, or are we gonna wait for the conversion? Because there's
Nah,
some,
if they have a doctor's note, it has to be an emergency. We are not going to do anything substantial at this time.
right,
because
that's
it's
what I was trying
really
to
a
tell
waste of
them,
money.
right, but these,
But if they have a doctor's note,
okay. we'll put
if they
them-
have a doctor's note, doctor said they need a shower, then we
Gotcha.
will address
Yes,
that.
ma'am, yes, ma'am, we'll take care of that tomorrow then. That was just a question, I just was asked out there from one of the tenants, that's all.
So let me say this about maintenance. First of all, Charles's responsibilities are changing. Charles, who is currently our maintenance supervisor, will no longer be our maintenance supervisor. He's going to be full-time inspector. The agency, as we make our transition, then the needs and the responsibilities change. Our HCV program will be the largest part of our agency, which means everything is going to be HCV. So we need to have a full-time inspector. I also want to say that we have certified all of our maintenance. They're all now HQS certified. We HQS certified everybody, except me. We're going to fix that. But Charles is going to become full-time inspector. There was some conversation between us, but his health, even though we need it, his health requires it. The dude had 3 heart attacks, 2 of them at the office.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable to me. Unacceptable, but he gives 110%, and his guys, respect him. They give their all. But he's no longer going to be maintenance. Just wanted to share that. Charles?
Bad as it is, yes.
Don't cry.
Well,
No,
Charles,
we do thank and appreciate you for all
Yes,
that
sir.
you do for the agency.
absolutely. I was just gonna ask, have we moved all the people that need to be moved? Have we done that, or how is that?
We have a few people in the back of Hornville that need to be moved. Maintenance is currently making units.
Units ready,
We can't
right.
move anybody else to boutique. We got all our elders by me. We've moved all the elders, and we take good care of them, especially now. We have a few in the back that they're making units ready in Hornville, which means the back is all 1 bedroom. So they're going to wind up going into a unit larger
then,
than what's required, which is acceptable. But
That transition been going pretty smoothly? I mean, I haven't heard any but negative or whatever, but just.
They don't argue, they don't fight anymore. Initially, it was a fight, but when the word started getting out, that when they got into their new units, when they
Right.
saw the condition of them, then everybody wanted one. Everybody want to move now.
Okay,
So it's been pretty smooth.
good.
they'll give us, time, like Ms. Hollis said, once they see what they're leaving from and what they're going to. Okay, yeah, I won't move.
Okay.
Well, you heard a resident earlier tonight, saying, she want to move to boutique.
Yes.
And that's a good thing to me.
Okay.
We've never had no one wanting to move,
Yes.
looking forward to what we are creating for them to move into. Now that is, their feelings now, that they can't wait. When am I gonna move is the question they get us.
Okay, very good. Just want to make sure that was smoothly.
All right, any further discussion? All right, so Ms. Hollis, I'm assuming from how we deviated on that you're wanting to discuss the resolutions in your agency update that we're voting on this evening?
I do want to discuss them because the resolutions are all significant. One of the, again,
Wait,
I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm just trying, because we've got several resolutions before us, and I know the board needs to have an executive session. So I'd like to actually motion at this time that we deviate from the schedule, and move into executive session to discuss the resolutions, the pending issues that we need for executive session, and then come out of that, let you do your report and do the report and the resolutions at the end.
Okay.
So, all right. Can I
Make
get
that,
a
Mr.
second on that? To move into executive?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
All right.
Aye. All right, time is 6:30, we move into executive session. Aye, that motion carries. Resume regular meeting. And Ms. Hollis, you're going to give us an update on the agency.
Update on the agency, we have completed our financial audit. We were successful in correcting all of the findings of the previous audit. However, on this audit, we did have two findings. One of them I shared with you guys earlier, and it was the spending on food, which is not ineligible. It's not an eligible expense. The other one is, it's big. I think that we might get a financial numbering hit, and it's pertaining to our CMAP. The 5/8, which is the rafter. Brandy?
Explain to us what the CMAP, what you talking about?
CMAP is the quality control for our HCV program. HUD uses all numbers and acronyms. But CNAP, it's the quality control. It's the way that we monitor whether or not we're doing our Section 8 vouchers appropriately, paying our landlords and our tenants the utility assistance appropriately. And it was found that 3 of the files that the auditor checked in our office, which is a random check, showed that the 5/8 did not match what was on the register. I have been communicating with staff, and staff is telling us that we have a technical glitch with the software that we're using. I am not comfortable with that explanation. I think that we need to do better. As a result, the staff and I are going through training as it relates to the CMAP and the HQS process. Here was the finding. The finding is that the documentation, which is a 5/8, a rafter, it's simply a form. And the form is where we calculate the payments. The information that was being put into the computer and a computer printout, which is the register, were not matching. And over a period of time, it stated that we had an overstatement of $5,500, of which we need to do corrective actions on. To either recoup the money, we have to recoup it.
That's in this somewhere?
It's in the findings. I'm giving you the bad part.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
It's the last 2 pages. It would be page 37.
Okay, get us to the meat of this stuff.
In my exit interview with the auditor, we came up with a corrective action. One is that it was recommended that we all do CMAP training, which we've
Gotcha.
preparing to register for. In addition to that, we need to have a 2-person check process. We do quality control on our fines, which means, all our files, which means if the specialist does a file, Brandy does a check, and I do a check on Brandy's to avoid it from happening again. That is it
Okay, awesome.
from our audit. And you guys all have a copy of the complete audit and the findings. It's behind the green sheet
Gotcha.
Yep.
in
Any-
your
Any
folder.
questions from the board regarding that? I know Mike Estes always does a really thorough job in what he gives to us.
The other issue I want to put on the table, Anna and I have gone over it. There has been a dollar amount that I personally have had to pay to the agency for activity that's not acceptable. Even though I may have had approval by the board really didn't have authority because HUD funding has specific regulations. I.e., the Washington trip, there was expenses that was approved. But even though the board approved it, it's not eligible for the activity of federal money, so I paid it back. No questions for it. No questions, I just paid it back. As it relates to the COVID, while we were shut down, I ordered the PPE. We couldn't buy anything anywhere, so a lot of things was ordered through Amazon. Amazon, while I was ordering personal stuff and also stuff for the agency. My credit card, my personal credit card, it's not an issue because it's been resolved, but I want to make sure that it's addressed. My credit card and the agency credit card had one number difference, and I might have had like 2, 3 things that should have been on my card, but was on the agency card, but I did pay it back. And since then, I've canceled that card, so that we have a big difference between the agency card and my card. So, with that being said, I want to now move to each resolution. I want to talk about each resolution because each resolution is significant. Do anybody have any questions before I move on?
No, I'm just gonna take your word that you say it's resolved.
Yeah, I wrote
She wrote
checks.
some checks.
I wrote checks. I didn't do cash.
That's how it got resolved.
And thank you for bringing that to our attention. I really appreciate that.
Well, I actually started, I don't have your email, but I started CCing Delario and Webb on the emails because I just wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page.
Yes, gotcha. Thank you, ma'am.
We need an email for you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, resolution number 1 is the administrative plan. The reason I want to address this is because we have made a modification on our administrative plan. Our agency has historically not done what's called a project-based contract. A project-based contract means that a third party outside of the housing authority, say a developer builds houses, and they wanted to make them available to our tenant, they can actually petition to us to put a voucher on those units to make it affordable. So we have modified our admin plan to include that into the admin plan. That's an update. The agency used to do it. We, at one point, had over 500 units. I don't know if you guys were aware of that. It was project-based. There were units in New Sarpy. There were units on the East Bank, and they were all project-based. At some point, we stopped. I'm not sure why. But it's in our best interest to have that in our admin plan in case we want to expand. So with that being said,
So you're saying this particular update is just to update that change? It's all, okay, because I'm just not seeing that change in the,
yeah.
Yeah, this resolution just allows us to make the change.
okay. Somewhere we're gonna state what the change is, or?
It's in our admin plan itself. Our admin plan is a Bible. It's about what? How many pages?
We've all received a copy of the administrative plan. So this is just kind of like putting the administrative plan into action,
Okay.
if that makes sense. So I'm going to read the resolution into the record, and then we can vote on it. Resolution number 01-08-03-20, resolution approving the updated HASCP-HCVP administrative plan. Whereas the Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish must have an approved updated housing choice voucher administrative plan. Now therefore, the Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish Board of Commissioners at the August 3rd, 2020 scheduled board meeting at St. Charles Parish Courthouse, Hanville, adopt the revised Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish, HCV, Section 8 Administrative Plan to be approved for implementation at August 3rd, 2020 meeting. Do we have any further discussion or a motion from the board?
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the resolution 01-08-03-20 as presented.
So, a second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just for the record, St. Charles Parish Community Development, LLC, or Development Corp., at some point, if they need to, can apply. The Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish for a project-based contract. Thank you.
All right, the second resolution this evening.
The second resolution is an annual plan. It's an annual plan. Every year, the agency have to do an update on its annual plan. We did not do one last year, so we kind of like 1 year behind, but the annual plan simply addresses how this agency governs St. Charles Parish Housing Authority. It is our governing entity's policies. We did not make any revisions on it. We did update it so that the language in the annual plan would also match the language in the administrative plan, which means that project base is now acceptable.
And I know we've all received a copy of the plan as well.
Yes.
So were there any comments or questions regarding that? All right, seeing none, read this resolution into the record. Resolution number 02-08-03-20, the resolution approving the updated HASCP annual PHA plan, whereas the Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish, HASCP, you'd think HUD is a tongue twister. I think they're like the official tongue twister organization in the United States. All right, whereas the Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish, HASCP, must have an approved, updated PHA plan, and whereas the HASCP developed a draft plan and requested comments for more than 45 days through physical postings and held public hearing for review and comments, whereas all received comments and concerns have been reviewed and incorporated in the final draft, and they've now been submitted to the board for approval. So do we have a motion by the board?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd like to approve resolution 02-08-03-20, approving the updated HASCP annual PHA plan.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Bailey,
Second.
second by Commissioner Woods. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries.
Three is a 5-year annual plan, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Resolution number 3 is our 5-year annual plan. We get allocation from the Department of Housing and Urban Development for CFP, Capital Fund. And we received a total of $259,000. We have to do what's called an annual 5-year plan every year, and we have to budget how we're going to use that money. So in your packet is a copy of the annual 5-year plan and also the budget. The way that I have broken the $259,000 up is to allocate 20% of the $259,000 for operations for the agency to use, which totals $51,887,000. The other is routine maintenance. I've allocated $34,000. Site improvement, I've allocated $45,000. And for dwelling structure and non-expendables, which means we just gonna let the money sit there until we do the conversion. And that amount allocated is $148,355.
Any board discussion or questions? Commissioner Woods?
No, I just got handed this.
This is routine.
We have a 5-year plan, but we update the 5-year plan every year.
Every year.
Yeah, yes, I got you. So whatever we approved is just, I understand.
So, and we make we make moderate revisions each year, but it projects out 5
I was
years.
just taking a minute to reabsorb the numbers.
Sure.
Okay.
It's going to be in the back.
Yeah, I did
You
find
got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It says 5-year.
I did find it.
So I'm gonna, did I
you
read
haven't
this one
read it.
into the record yet?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll go ahead and read it into the record, and you can review while I read another tongue twister. right, resolution number 03-08-03-20. The resolution approving updated 5-year annual plan, whereas Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish, HASCP, must have an approved updated 5-year annual plan. And whereas the HASCP developed a draft plan and held public hearing for review and comments. Whereas all received comments and concerns have been reviewed and incorporated in the final draft and are now submitted to the board for approval. And now therefore, the Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish Board of Commissioners at August 3rd, 2020, scheduled board meeting, St. Charles Parish Courthouse, Hanville, adopt the revised Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish 5-year annual plan to be approved for implementation at the August 3rd, 2020 meeting. Do we have a motion on this resolution?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve resolution number 03-08-03-20.
All right, motion made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries.
The next resolution is pertaining to cell phone policy. It is a HUD requirement because the agency pays for the cell phone bill of the employees of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, that we have a policy in place. So the language in that policy was given to me directly by our auditor. And basically, I have to every month review each cell phone bill to make sure that personal use is not being used with the agency's cell phone. Has to be a policy in place. However, we have a contract that's just paying a flat fee, but we need to have a policy in place.
Do we have a copy of the policy in here?
And we should.
I thought I saw it, but I don't.
Where, Brandy?
You don't want to know what my paperwork looks like right now. I've been
Right.
sliding it all over the place.
And the very last of what you handed us today?
The one that we got, yeah, it's the one that's legal 5 year.
You found it, Delario?
Oh, it's in
So
the
the back of
5.
the one that's legal
All
5
right,
year.
just figure it out with this.
Oh, yeah, update cell
I know I
phone
did see
policy.
it.
Do you guys want me to read it?
All right.
Not necessary?
No, it's not.
Glasses.
It's not, well, basically, you're saying that we didn't have a policy.
We
Yeah.
did not.
It was brought to your attention by the auditor,
We did not get cited for it, but it was brought to
brought to
my
our
attention.
attention, so now we're putting a policy in place.
That is correct.
Okay.
Give us a quick second.
Woo!
Okay.
It ends with
I'm good
termination.
I'm good with that. Pretty straightforward and basic in my estimation.
Want to read it?
Yep. No, I did. I
Do-
didn't read it.
Do y'all need it read?
No,
No,
well,
sir.
not this, I'm talking about the resolution.
Yeah, okay. I'll read it into the record.
Not the policy, no.
We've got a lot of these tonight. Resolution number 04-08-03-20, a resolution approving a cell phone policy. Whereas the Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish, HASCP, must have an approved cell phone policy. And whereas the HASCP, I was the one that determined to stick with that acronym, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's how HUD recognize us.
Well, I understand that, but we had the option of switching.
Right.
And now I'm learning a new one, and it's tied my tongue. All right. Developed a draft cell phone policy plan, whereas the final draft are now submitted to the board for approval. Now therefore, the Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish Board of Commissioners at August 3rd, 2020, scheduled board meeting at the St. Charles Parish Courthouse, Hanville, Louisiana, adopt the revised Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish cell phone policy to be approved for implementation at the August 3rd, 2020 meeting. Do I have a motion from the board?
Yeah.
I have a motion made by Ms. Bellick. Do we have a second?
Second.
There's a second by Bailey. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. That motion carries. All right. Resolution number 5.
Resolution number 5 is our procurement process. Our procurement policy. Our procurement policy was modified. A draft was developed in September of 2018. It was one of the first things I did when I came to the agency based on the audit. The procurement policy was submitted to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Though we did not get feedback on them, from them on that policy, we have been adhering to it, and the auditor states that the board needs to adopt the policy so that we are in compliance.
That was a procurement policy that the board looked at, it was a while back.
Y'all look at it all the time. I gave you another copy at the last board meeting
Yeah, I
in my
know,
office.
but I know the initial, I'm just referencing back the initial procurement policy. I remember when this came up.
Yeah.
That was
there's-
months and months ago, like.
Yeah. There's three very important audited issues inside of that policy. One of it is contracting, how we hire our contractor. The other is how we procure supplies. HUD has revised, we're now micro. Micro used to be 2,500, it's now 5,000. And the other significant part of it would be the budgeting, the budgeting process.
All right,
How we budget our resources.
I mean, this is something we've been using, I think, for about the last year or longer, huh?
That's why we didn't get an audit hit on it, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember at least a couple of
So,
years.
any discussion? All right, I'm going to read that one into the record. By the end of this evening, I'm going to have this acronym down, but, okay.
ESCO,
HASCP, that's what we're going to, with a HASCP now?
that's what HUD does.
Okay. Resolution number 05-08-03-20, resolution approving procurement policy. Whereas the Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish, HASCP, must have an approved a procurement policy, and whereas the HASCP developed a draft procurement policy. Whereas a final draft is submitted to the board for approval, now therefore the Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish Board of Commissioners at the August 3rd, 2020 scheduled board meeting, St. Charles Parish Courthouse, Hanville, Louisiana, adopt the revised Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish Procurement Policy Plan to be approved for implementation at the August 3rd, 2020 meeting. And do we have a motion from the board?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to pass the motion to approve Resolution 05-08-03-20, approving our procurement policy.
All right, we have a motion made by Commissioner Bailey. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bella. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries.
Awesome, we're almost finished.
Almost.
All right, resolution number 6. Resolution number 6 is,
Yeah, resolution number 6 is a separate document.
resolution number 6, you don't have it here. We have to do a study annually. We do a study, we conduct a, we solicit a outside firm. Normally, I think we use NAROD, and what they do is a study to determine the utility costs. It's required. It's because we pay the utilities for our Section 8 tenants. So this is a resolution authorizing the agency to move forward with the NAROD. We're actually late. I'm late on this. We're authorizing that we move forward with the NAROD study for utility assistance.
Any board discussion, questions?
How much is the study?
How much do we pay for that, Brandy? What is it? And it's done every year.
What are we studying? Tell me that again.
We have to justify the utility assistance
The utility assistance that we've been getting, okay.
that we pay.
That we-
We actually pay
But we,
our tenants.
yes, assisting, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir, okay, gotcha.
All right.
And that's on our website. If not, we need to make sure it's published on our website.
This is annual?
Annual. Yes, ma'am.
So they just compare rates or,
They do. It's
And
based,
it's a requirement from HUD.
Metro. Yeah,
It
we
is?
can't just
Okay.
yeah, it is a
arbitrarily.
requirement, not.
And this
I
is,
was gonna say,
this
I think it's a
is
waste.
the, I mean, as far as companies go that, that do this, That's
We have
the
two.
most reasonable rate, or?
Because we've been quoted up to 12,000 before.
So, so we get federal funds to assist the tenants, and then we pay additional federal funds
For this
to-
study.
To study whether we're paying the right amount.
Yeah. And HUD reimburses, HUD pays
No,
for this
I
study.
get they reimburse it, I'm just talking about, I pay taxes.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And it's like,
Right.
yeah, okay.
So we're kind of
It's
just
still- It's a
going,
federal double dip is what it
Gotcha.
sounds like.
Yes.
but we'll go on the record that it's some a
So,
requirement.
so you followed me, good.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a requirement.
Yeah, we might need to talk to the legislature about that, how that's done. Okay, and how many companies, I mean, there's a lot of companies that do this, though.
Yeah,
And
usually
you-
I think only like, we don't get, I think we have like, we usually maybe get like maybe 5 responses to the proposal.
Mhm.
Yeah, but now, right, usually is always the,
The most
So,
reasonable.
and that's part of the procurement, we are doing RFPs for this.
For the studies, yes.
Okay,
We've put that out already? Okay.
Yeah, this was actually done last year.
okay,
I'm late on this. It should have been done in January.
okay.
Okay, I thought
So
it,
this one was already done, and the RFP for, we'll do another one in 20, for
September.
September.
Another one is due in
At
September.
the fiscal ending year.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, gotcha, all right.
All right, here we go. Resolution number 06-08-03-20, authorizing approval of the 2019-2020 utility allowance study completed by Nelrod Company, St. Charles Parish Housing Authority. Where the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, now, we did it backwards in this one, is that correct?
I'm sorry.
I-
Oh, yeah.
HSC, am I going to even remember how to say it?
ASCP.
Yeah. we did say that.
HASCP,
Can you sign it anyway? I'll fix it.
yeah, is required to perform an annual utility usage study when there may have been more than a 10% change in the utility rates, and the last study was performed by HASCP by the Nelrod Company, and whereas HASCP Board of Commissioners authorized the approval of a new survey study by the Nelrod Company through resolution number 06-08-03-20, August 3rd, 2020, whereas the study was completed and forwarded to the HASCP December 18th, 2019, it is recommended that the Board of Commissioners approve the study survey results and allow to notify participants of the changes and have changes implemented on January 1st, 2020. Therefore, the Board of Commissioners of HASCP at the August 3rd, 2020, 6 p.m. regular board meeting, Hahnville Courthouse, Hahnville, Louisiana, authorize Executive Director to implement the new allowances effective January 1st, 2020, whereas the Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish, HASCP, must have an approved utility allowance study, and whereas the HASCP commissioned a utility allowance study draft, whereas the final draft are now submitted to the board for approval. Now therefore, the Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish Board of Commissioners at the August 3rd, 2020 scheduled board meeting at the St. Charles Parish Courthouse, Hahnville, Louisiana, adopt revised Housing Authority of St. Charles Parish utility allowance study to be approved for implementation at the August 3rd, 2020 meeting. Do I have a motion from the board?
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept Resolution 06-08-03-2020, Utility Allowance Study.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Woods. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bailey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries.
Last resolution. This is our annual operation budget. we have to submit to the Department of Housing and Urban Development a budget, an annual budget, based on operation monies that's received by the agency. And we need to show them in detail how that money is going to be spent. This current year, which ends in September, we receive in operations from Department of Housing and Urban Development, $460,000, 447. We have projected that we will get a $4,000 increase. So the budget that we're submitting to HUD with this resolution is for $464,746.76. With this budget, based on the line items, this budget right here projects at this particular time a 2.6 MENAR, which is a whole 1% increase. It's also scored based on the indicators, the quick ratio. Remember we talked about that in July? The quick ratio out of 12, we get 12 for this budget. For the month's expenditures and net asset ratio, out of 11, we get 9. We're not perfect. And for debt service coverage ratio, out of 2, we get 2. So the total points, out of 25, we'll get 23 points with the budget that's proposed. And you guys have a copy of it.
All right. So this is resolution number 07-08-03-20, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, PHA Board Resolution approving of the operating budget for Public Housing Authority, St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, PHA LA 094. Do we have a motion from the board?
The board is flipping through this budget.
The board sound like they're tired of supporting resolutions.
Have we seen this before?
Did you guys find it?
We found it, it's just that we're just,
Digesting it.
yes, ma'am, I have to say, I just got it this evening and I didn't really.
I tell you what, this is the easiest one I've ever seen. It's starting with 19, 20, and it's projecting out to 21. It's comparing last year, current,
This
and
year.
projecting the first year.
Yeah.
This one's gotta be done tonight.
We have deadlines. This budget, if you would look at the line items, take time to digest it. It's the basics, it's the routine operation. The only thing that, actually, it's nothing that's unusual. It's just, go to page, the last 2 pages, and let's go over it together. This one, that says operation.
Okay, I'm looking under operating budget
It
fiscal year
says, it starts off with
9/30.
income. Do you see that?
Not yet.
You know what? Our budget last year, we didn't get cited, but we spent a lot of money on travel and training
Boring, we need it.
last year. Well, we needed it. The staff needed it. The staff had not been trained. But that would be the only modification in this budget. We're spending less on travel and less on education. Everything else is the telephone, the maintenance, electrical, plumbing, trash. And the very last page is our insurance, which is our
So-
largest expense.
So, looking at it, we have multiple columns here under operating budget.
Where are you, so we can, I mean,
Which fiscal we approve in the fiscal year of 2020?
Well, I'm on a page,
2021.
there's multiple pages here, and they don't appear to be numbered.
let's not
not.
fall
But,
apart at the end.
Let's just,
No, I mean,
I'm on,
Let me see, that's where you start.
2021 look good to me.
I'm on the operating
2021 look good
budget
to me.
that starts with income operating revenues, where it shows total operating revenues budgeted for fiscal year is 9/30/2021.
Well,
I don't have a clue where you are. Maybe I,
hold on, go on this page right here. You got the
Because we-
operation,
because we
operation
going
budget.
back and forwards and flipping, and I don't know where you are.
I just want to make sense of this.
But the actual,
That's
so
exactly
the
what I'm
operating
trying to
budget, the operating budget is this page right here that has everything spelled out. You have the 2020 year and the 2021 year.
You don't know.
If you follow through,
about numbers.
the thing I like is the 2021 year budget seems to be lower than the 2020 year by a large number.
So going back to what I was saying, total operating revenues, it's the first,
You got it, Rodney?
for fiscal year, I'm assuming that's what this is saying, fiscal year ending 9/30/2019, your operating budget, the actual amount paid was 345,129.
Correct.
Okay.
We're decreasing each year.
And then for 2020, we projected a 267,689. And for
This
2021, we're
next.
projecting 257.
Correct.
So when we look at administrative fees, et cetera, we're seeing the same trajectory. And it looks like we're moving in the direction we need to be moving in.
So you're reading it, Mr. Woods, you're reading it from right to left.
Oh, I got you. I figured that much out. Now I'm absorbing the numbers, and you are
Gotcha.
correct, as I'm seeing that the budget is decreasing. And
Our
and that's all I was
construction
just
costs
trying-
did go up
That's what I was trying to
And,
see and understand.
2020, but, obviously, we've been making improvements.
Making units ready.
Okay.
Tenant relocation is going up, but not as high as 2019. But I mean, we need that for the conversion.
Yeah, for the
Yeah,
conversion.
because
I
we're
got you.
moving them around.
Do I have more than one page to sign once this is voted on?
I got you.
The second page, it's one, and then this one. The other is just the scoring system.
Is it, I have two things here.
That's the same thing, it should be twice. You have it's duplicate, right?
Oh, this one's dated here,
Let me see,
2018. This one's dated 2020.
2018 shouldn't be in there. Change the date, the date is wrong. I didn't change the date.
Where are we at?
So it begins 2020. That should be 2020 fiscal
here?
year.
Where are you changing something?
He's changing the
On-
fiscal year
On this
date.
resolution, the date here said
Oh, I thought you were
2018.
changing
It was a
something.
carryover. We submit this form every year.
I got you. I just thought it was something you were changing in the budget itself.
No, just the date is wrong in one spot. It's right everywhere else on the page.
Okay. All right, since I've had a few minutes to look at this and digest and see the trend where we're going, I got it.
So, and it's really just an accounting of the financial statements that we're getting.
This
all
will
the
be
time.
this will be the first time in 4 years that we literally submit our budget on time.
Thank you.
All right, so do I have a motion from the board for resolution, this is the seventh resolution, correct?
Yes.
07-08-03-20.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to pass a motion to approve resolution 07-08. Am I reading it right? That's it?
Yeah. 07
07-08-03. This is our
PHA
annual operation.
approval of operating budget.
We're approving the operating budget.
All right, we have a motion made by Commissioner Bailey, a second.
Second.
All right, a second made by Commissioner Woods. All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries.
Did I get 6?
Yeah,
I do.
it's signed
I lost
somewhere.
it.
That's it.
And then I'd like to make a motion that we approve the payment of our legal counsel, Don Paul Landry's unpaid invoices to date.
Second.
That's the motion.
Got it, second.
Second.
I need dollar amounts.
Yeah,
Then we'll
So
go-
we have, it's the unpaid invoices to date. I believe the total is 9,000, but I'll submit the actual dollar amount to you, so you have it, but I believe it was 9,000 something. We have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Right. Any further board discussion or questions, comments? Any-
I do not, but I can't find 6. Can you guys,
Does somebody
can you-
have a copy of 6?
I have one.
Oh,
Can you
there it
just
is,
review
okay.
that?
Yeah.
You didn't put it
Who,
up there?
do you know who made the motion on 6?
Mr. Woods,
Yes, ma'am.
can you give us a live email address? Doesn't have to be the Housing Authority one. You have what one?
She has one for me. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Send it to me. Miss Verloc, you get my emails, right?
Yes, I do.
I thought you stopped communicating with me.
Stop. I send emails all the time
I had
just-
been getting them.
because I would send them to R. Woods at St. Charles Parish Housing Authority. But now that I know Brandy has one.
Miss Brandy, you've been
Yeah, you
communicating,
put
haven't
mine.
you?
I don't get
I send
it
yours
when
to
you
the
put it on
parish.
housing, but when you send it, you
I
send it
don't-
to Maryland.
I don't
get
even
it.
use housing with you or
Right.
Delario anymore.
Right, because yeah.
And if you,
I won't
do we
see
need a
that you use
resolution
over.
number for Don Paul's thing? Does that need to be a resolution?
No, I just need a directive.
Okay.
Y'all my boss.
All right. All right, no further discussion. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I move that we adjourn the regular business meeting.
All right,
Second.
second by Ms. Belloc. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting's adjourned. Time is 7:28.
Is Charles okay?